Hello students, today we are going to learn about the arches of foot. Now, the arches of foot does have a very important role in the life of a human being. Here we can look at the different pictures. Okay, we can jump, we can run, we can dance. So all this has been possible because of the arches of foot. We can play different games. Even the Olympics, we see the peoples are jumping so high, long jump. So how this is possible? This is all the gift of arches of foot. Now there are two basic functions which are performed by the human foot, and the first and foremost is the support to the body weight. Okay, it supports the body weight, and then it acts as a lever to propel the body in a forward locomotion. Arches of foot, they help in distribution of the weight of a body in a proportionate way, and it helps in the locomotion by allowing the foot to adjust on uneven ground with its resilience. Now we can see over here there are different points of weight distribution. Okay, so this is how it has been distributing the weight of a body on both the foots. Now they are classified according to two broad categories. One is the longitudinal arches and the transverse arch. The longitudinal arch are again broadly classified as medial longitudinal arch and lateral longitudinal arch, and the transverse arches are categorized as anterior transverse arch and the posterior transverse arch. Now here we can see the location where the arches are been lying. On the medial side, this is the medial longitudinal arch, this is the lateral longitudinal arch, and this is the location for the transverse arch. Now these are the different shape of the arches which we can note. Now there are different bones which forms the arches. Okay, so here we can see the medial longitudinal arch which is formed by the calcaneus, then talus, the navicular, three cuneiforms, and three metatarsals. And the lateral longitudinal arch is formed by the lateral half of the calcaneum, then cuboid, and the fourth and fifth metatarsal. So this is again the segmental distribution of the same. That is the this is the medial longitudinal arch as already depicted to you. So which is formed by different bones. So this is the calcaneum. Then what we can see the cuneiform bones are in there. Okay. So this is talus, then the navicular, then cuneiform bones, and the three metatarsals, anterior ends of the three metatarsals. Now it is having pillars are there. The arch has been categorized into the pillars and the ends. Medial longitudinal arch is they having anterior pillar and posterior pillar. Anterior ends, posterior end. Okay. The anterior pillar is formed by the medial three metatarsals, that's first, second, and third metatarsal, and the anterior end is formed by the anterior most ends of the three metatarsals. The posterior pillar is short and stout, which is formed by the medial half of the calcaneum, and the posterior end is formed by the medial tubercle of the calcaneum. Now, the summit of the medial longitudinal arch is formed by the arch, okay, arch of the superior surface of your talus, and the main joint for the medial longitudinal arch is talocalcaneo-navicular joint. Medial longitudinal arch is very tall, and that's why the medial half of the foot is not touching to the ground. The characteristic of this arch is that this is very resilient due to the large component of the bones. Now, what are the factors which maintain the medial longitudinal arch? They are broadly categorized as ligaments and the muscles and tendons. The ligaments, they act as intersegmental ties. They tie the different components of the arch, and they are the plantar calcaneonavicular ligament, which is also called as spring ligament. This is a very strong ligament. Dorsal ligaments connecting the adjacent bones, and the interosseous talocalcaneal ligament. Now, second category is the muscles and aponeurosis. Now, in the muscles and aponeurosis, first is the acting, which are acting from above, and suspending the arch from above. This is the tendon of the tibialis posterior and tendon of the flexor hallucis brevis. They suspend the arch from above as if something is attached to the roof and it is suspending some part. Okay, so this is how they are acting as a sling. And then acting as tie beam. Here the tie beam means they are connecting the anterior and posterior ends, and already it is mentioned that the anterior end of the medial longitudinal arch is formed by the anterior ends of the first three metatarsals, and the posterior end is formed by the posterior tubercle of the calcaneum. So the tie beams are medial plantar aponeurosis, abductor hallucis brevis, and the flexor hallucis brevis. Now here we can appreciate the how the tibialis posterior and the tendon of flexor brevis is acting from above and acting as slings. And here this is an tie beam where the anterior and posterior ends are connected to each other by the plantar aponeurosis and the muscles which are already been mentioned. So this is the concept of tie beams and the slings. Now the next arch is the lateral longitudinal arch, which is comparatively lower in position and which is formed by the lateral half of the calcaneum, talus, then cuboid, and the fourth and fifth metatarsal. Now the summit of this arch, summit means superior portion, okay? The summit of this arch is formed by the subtalar joint, and the main joint in this arch is the calcaneo-cuboid joint. The main joint in this arch is the calcaneo-cuboid joint. The pillars are formed by, there are two pillars, posterior pillar and the anterior pillar. Now the posterior pillar will be formed by the lateral half of the calcaneum, and the anterior pillar is formed by the fourth and fifth metatarsals. Now ends. The anterior end for the lateral longitudinal arch is formed by the anterior ends of fourth and fifth metatarsal, and posterior end shall be formed by the lateral tubercle of the calcaneum. Now, as mentioned that the lateral longitudinal arch, it touches the ground, which is contradictory to your medial longitudinal arch, which was not touching to the ground, and that's why the rigidity is the characteristic of the lateral longitudinal arch, and resilience was the characteristic of the medial longitudinal arch. Now here are also some factors which are maintaining the lateral longitudinal arch similar to that of your medial longitudinal arch. Now they are categorized as ligaments and the muscles and muscle tendons and the aponeurosis. Now what are the ligaments? Short plantar ligament and the long plantar ligament. The muscles which are acting as sling and suspending the arch from above, these are the tendon of peroneus brevis and peroneus tertius. And the tie beams which were connecting the anterior posterior ends are the lateral part of plantar aponeurosis, lateral part of the flexor digitorum brevis, abductor digiti minimi brevis, and the flexor digiti minimi brevis. Here in this diagram, we can appreciate the short and long plantar ligaments. So these are the short, this is short plantar ligament, this is long plantar ligament. And these are the tendons which are acting from above, that is the sling for your lateral longitudinal arch. Now, in the second category, we are having the transverse arches. We have seen now the longitudinal arches. Now we are learning about the transverse arches. Now the transverse arches are two in number, anterior and posterior. Anterior transverse arch is for each foot, where the first and the fifth ends of the metatarsus are touching the ground. That's why anterior transverse arches are complete transverse arches, and the posterior transverse arches are on the posterior side of the foot. We can see over here, this is the segment where we can appreciate the posterior transverse arch, and these transverse arches are half. Unless the two foots touches to each other, they cannot be complete. That's why we are having anterior transverse arch as an complete transverse arch, and the posterior transverse arch is as an incomplete transverse arch, or which can be completed only when the other foot touches the second foot. Now here we will try to summarize the medial longitudinal arch and the lateral longitudinal arch. The medial longitudinal arch is formed by the more bones and joints, and the lateral is formed by the less bones and joints. Characteristic feature is resilience. For lateral longitudinal arch, the characteristic feature is the rigidity. Medial longitudinal arch is higher and more mobile. Lateral is less mobile. Okay. Mainly, the medial longitudinal arch is mainly involved in propulsion during the locomotion, and lateral is for supporting the body weight. The summit of the medial longitudinal arch is formed by the talus, and the summit of the lateral longitudinal arch is formed by the calcaneum. Main joint for the medial longitudinal arch is the talocalcaneo-navicular joint, and the main joint for the lateral longitudinal arch is the calcaneo-cuboid joint. So just to summarize, what are the factors maintaining the arches? These are the shapes of bone, ligaments, intersegmental ties, slings, and the tie beams. So this is how the shape of a bone is playing a key role. They are acting as a keystone which distributes the weight of a body. Now there are certain deformities. You might have seen the footprints. So this is the normal footprint which we can see in day-to-day life. Okay, and but sometimes we see that the medial part is touching the ground. So this is something which is called as pes planus, flat foot, and we can see that in some of the persons the middle part is missing. This is due to the highly arched foot. Okay, so that is because of the pes cavus. Now in the pes cavus, the foot is excessively highly arched. That's why it's not touching to the ground, and the middle part is missing. In pes planus, due to the increase in the body weight, what happens, the resilience is lower. Okay, and the medial longitudinal arch also becomes flat. That's why we can see that the arches are lower in position, and there is a chances of the damage to the neurovascular architecture of the foot. Talipus equinus, in the talipus equinus, we can see the foot is plantar flex and inverted, and talipus valgus, in that the foot is plantar face and it is inverted. And this is an talipus equinovarus, that is commonly called as club foot, where the foot is inverted, adducted, and plantar flex. So just to summarize, what is pes planus? Pes planus is flat foot, pes cavus is high arch foot, talipus equinus, this is the foot is plantar flex, and the person walks on the toes with heels raised, similar to the horse. Talipus calcaneus, the heel remains on the ground and the toes are upturned. Okay, so person is walking on the heels. That is called as talipus calcaneus. Talipus varus, the foot is fixed with inversion and adduction, and the person is walking on the lateral border of the foot. Talipus valgus, here it is contrasting to the varus. Foot is fixed in eversion and abduction, and the person is walking on the inner border of the foot. Thank you.